Howdy folks, Monty here in Las Vegas once again for another one of these Games Workshop White Dwarf read-throughs here, 116. Thank you in particular to Andrew Bavard for reminding me it was the Arndale Centre, which I think was rebuilt, or built basically after the IRA explosion, but yeah, a name that's stuck in my brain from the distant past that was wonderful for Andrew to leave a comment and let me know. Got it first thing this morning. I was just like, yes, the Arndale Centre, of course. My wife used to work at the ticket booth, the travel ticket as opposed to the railway ticket booth in central Manchester. And I remember one day I got absolutely saturated going in to visit her, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I ended up at the Arndale Centre and had to buy a football t-shirt or whatever it was. It was probably a tank top, as I'd call it now. Anyway, long story behind that, not important for this one. So, starts with a picture of Marines versus Marines. So I thought that was particularly interesting. I guess these are probably some kind of Chaos Marine faction that are under their feet here. But I wish I knew more about the details. But beautiful image. I'm assuming the details are somewhere in fine print, actually, in the magazine. I did try to find them initially, but just thought, no, let's give them a standard walkthrough. So here we have Fantasy Miniatures, the painting thereof, the book of the painting thereof, I think I have somewhere in my collection, or maybe, I don't know. Anyway, lots of beauties on the cover there. We have a different photo of John Blatchett. Jez Goodwin, who I don't think appeared in the last one, could be wrong. But yeah, a remarkably youthful photo of Jez Goodwin. Again, we're still in 1989, August 1989. So yeah. I think you could find online contemporary interviews of Jez Goodwin, actually probably released by Games Workshop, or whatever it's called currently, Warhammer or whatever. Anyway, always love these images, which I don't know if they're from Games Workshop or from Fighting Fantasy, or where the images are from. There's a lot of overlap between the images here. You can get pack issue White Dwarves. So we're starting off with obviously the Culture Shock section, just a photograph of the folks playtesting a new Gladiator game, which I'm assuming was never released. Various photos here. Anyone interesting? No, just a group of people from the studio, I guess. So we have Dwarf Mountaineers, which I don't know how these things, but you can see the place for hole punches, which indicate that they're probably to replace something else. Space Marine, wow, an epic game. I did have some Codex Titanicus stuff in my collection, but it was actually donated to me by a fellow called Rich Murphy, or Murph as he prefers to be called. So I think he might be a viewer, so shout outs to Murph. The Adeptus Titanicus stuff is still there, or at least the epic related stuff. Here's Space Marine. This is a classic image. I feel my friend Fred Reed is representing that miniature, but I think it's actually closer to the Al Pacino from Scarface, but still a beautiful image. Let's see if we've got the pages turned here. This seems to be a thick page. There we go. Epic Battle Damage System. So yes, Epic wasn't a game that I played, unfortunately. I think I would have had a lot of fun with it, but it's just one of these things where you've got to limit your hobby space eventually. But yes, just different speed of things, and obviously Titans. And here I think this is more Imperial data cards, so I think this is more, yes, Codex Titanicus stuff. Career opportunities at Games Workshop. I will tell that story once, but not in this recording. Same bad channel. Oh, I guess that's a joke about Batman. I think this is all the Adeptus Titanicus stuff. Now we get back to the usual stuff. This dragon is such a cute one. I don't have, I don't really think I've got one Warhammer dragon. In fact, I've got a series of demons that look like dragons, so aside from that. Any interesting miniatures here? No, I think these are just page fillers. I do like the Klaus Dwarf Blood Bowl players. They're particularly interesting. So, Terminator Close Assault Weapons for Warhammer 40,000. This was particularly important. This just looks like, oh, it's a close assault squad. What makes it a close assault squad? I'm wondering, let's see if we can see here, dreadnought armor, bolters. It seems like, except they have power swords and pack gloves, but they're just smaller, maybe a unit of just 5 of them. Nothing. Okay, just different grenades, standard equipment. Oh, thunder hammers and storm shields and lightning claws, which I don't think are represented in the artwork. Maybe they couldn't get the artwork fast enough and just had to use old artwork. Terminator Captain. More beauties. So, we've got a bunch of conversions, which is an interesting mix between 40k and fantasy here, beautifully. Although I think these are actually 40k. Yes, they are universally 40k, even though it looks like fantasy. Like Verge, where orc technology is really so primitive, it could be fantasy. And as Predator, I miss the old Predators. I guess for a period of time you could buy them on Forge World, whatever became Forge World. This is a classic figure. It's funny to think this is back in 1989. I have this figure, I showed it in recent videos. This one too. This was always a classic. Whether or not it had the shield on the gun was always important. And sometimes you just couldn't get them with shields, and this is an example of one without a shield. Gene Stealer Hybrid, yes. A lot of these ones I just do not have in my collection. Dealer Directory Traitor Terminators, here we go. Again, use of the same I think maybe moderately modified, I think, this one compared to the last one. But still probably not quite what they wanted in full. Couldn't get the artwork in time, I guess. Traitor Terminator Captain, beautifully done. Dealer Directory. Well, I kind of went through this last time, so... Oh my goodness. So now, this seems to be the epic, even though it doesn't say it on the cover, it seems to be the epic issue. Because now we're dealing with orcs. I wonder why this guy's firing backwards, or maybe he's just screaming back in a gesture. Just has his gun up for some unknown reason. Gargant roster sheet. Again, so these kind of things just filled in the space of the magazines. I wasn't really into it at the time. It's good to go back and have a look at this. Oh my goodness, here is a lot of beauties. Fraser Gray. So these are interesting because they fit into my two-faced Chaos Goblin. Two-faced Chaos Goblin, that's interesting. But yeah, I'm wondering if any of these are modified or if they're all bulk standard. These look like they're standard. This one's a favourite of mine. The arm is a leg. When the leg is removed, the arm grows down. And I think, yes, it's pretty well done there. There's some additional stuff. So the bone cut off there is the lost leg, which the arm has replaced beautifully. More epic stuff. This is a bit of a, not quite an ideal magazine from a general interest. This is a favourite image of mine too. Again, seeing lots of little orky goodness against the Gargant in the background. Wow, this is all epic all the time, this issue. Bimbos of the Death Song. Wow. Well, that was a TSR Penguin. I never realised TSR and Penguin got together. That's interesting. So that particular piece is unknown. More beautiful models. More beautiful models. This is a favourite of mine, the Chaos Mutant there. I don't think I have it in my collection. This one is obviously a classic. So look at some of these others. These really aren't brilliant photos. The contrast could be slightly higher, they could be slightly better illuminated. It's kind of difficult to kind of go into muddy tones, unfortunately. So flying, what is it? Mutant Space Adventure. Looks like a flying werewolf of some description. And yeah, the mixing of high art and low art and painting miniatures, always a beautiful thing. Again, the heavy metal team, again, things were better, I would read various sections of this, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, kind of missed by muddy colours. This one's a classic, but yeah, they're just not quite, you need these kind of stark contrasts to get these images just right. Well, Games Workshop did pretty well. GW did pretty well with regards to the printing of these old ones. There were still issues with regards to illumination, and just these kind of areas here would just pop with just a little bit more lighting. Maybe a slightly better background as well, hard to say. Gene Stealer Clowns, now we're getting into the interesting stuff. So this is a continuation of Gene Stealer Cult Army list. Obviously a bunch of fluff associated with the organisation, society within the cult. Here we go. Beautiful image of just the effects of the Imperial Guard slowly becoming Gene Stealers in the various worlds. And the various other things, the rats and other things here. So it's like a full bestiary. Slight image here. Hard to make out. Again, yes, there's obviously a Gene Stealer here, and beautifully done though. Gene Stealer Cult Army. And well, we get back into the meat and potatoes of the magazine. Selling White Dwarfs, selling Citadel catalogues, selling Painting Fantasy, and of course the list of colours. The smell of these paints when you open them is still a thing from my childhood. Apparently people still buy these paints unopened. I'm sure mainly for the smell, not for the colours, because you can get the colours elsewhere. It's a favourite many of mine, as is this one, Love the Fly, with the hands cut off. Of course a Gene Stealer, some forgotten dwarf. We get back into the Gene Stealer Cult Army list. This is good. Do we have any, well, a smattering of Gene Stealer Cult. Hybrid Initiate, I should remember that word, Initiate. 4th generation hybrid. So you've got these amazing combinations here as the stuff works in the genetics and the bloodline. Interesting. Beautiful old Terminators with some amazing highlighting on them. A bunch of different models here. We're continuing on the Gene Stealer Cult Army list here, getting into the details. Be an interesting kind of compare and contrast with the current Gene Stealer Cult rules. I don't think they've had a book revision since the last one. A favourite part of mine. The Marauder Miniatures section. Let's see. I think I've got that Greenskin. I've got a few of these. I think I've got that guy. But yeah, just a beautiful set of editions. And essentially I was trying to get a smattering of these dwarves as well. My dwarf army, but sadly not all of them. Well, I have 2 dwarf armies. The older dwarf army. The one without shields. This one's a classic. I love the Dwarf Wizards. They're a favourite of mine. We're still in Gene Stealer Cult. Oh, here we go with the Beastman band. I don't understand the addition of Beastman. I guess once you've absorbed some degree of nastiness, getting a little bit nastier just doesn't really matter that much. So yes, this seems to be a slight dud issue, although I love this kind of imagery and stuff. It's not really, here we go, this is a favourite picture of mine too. There are no sentinels in this picture, I don't think. But yeah, just, I love the, I don't know what you'd call them, like the Hearst, like the constantly adopted. The Coven, select the Coven. Gosh, casualties. Developing the cult. Yes, I can imagine getting into like a lot of really interesting narrative detail with regards to these things. And then we get to the, well, you can actually buy a Gene Stealer Cult Army. And these are, I think, majority metal. Yes, they're majority metal, except for perhaps the Brood Brothers, who are Imperial Guardsmen, which probably could be plastic. But yes, that would have been a beautiful army box set. Only $35. Only $35. Now for $3,500 on eBay, I'm sure. Okay. We're getting to the end here. Favourite section of mine. Yes, I've got, I think I got this set actually painted by a top-notch painter. Unfortunately, the miniatures were sent almost loose. These got all scratched up, but he did repaint them and resend them to me, so it is what it is. Like the Dwarf Mountaineer here. Yes, these are all beauties. These are all beauties. These ones are interesting because they're the plastic weapons. These are plastic arms and weapons, I guess. They were specially designed for. And the final page. A bunch of epic. People detailing, painting. I don't know who these people are. Andy Craig, I think I should probably know who he is. Rotating this round for a combination of what this issue was, which was a series of epic related stuff, and then obviously the Dune Stealer Colts. Anyway, Tom Barberly here in Las Vegas once and again. Getting these things are probably of interest to a good number of people, so please let me know in the comments if you'd like me to continue and add to this, and shout outs once again to Andrew for the Arndale Centre. Great to get that memory back. Anyway, Tom Barberly in Las Vegas, Nevada, signing out.